Hey everybody, welcome back to another short video presentation. You know, the one thing that the political left everywhere fear is voter ID. They absolutely hate the idea that people have to demonstrate that they are who they say that they are. And this is becoming quite a long-running campaign here in the UK against it. So we read this story today where the mandatory voter ID will cost 40 million over a decade. Okay, so 40 million over a decade. Let's take that as an accurate estimate then. Do you know how much the government spent on furlough in the past 16 months? Yeah, that's right. The UK government spending as of April 14th is 61 billion. 61 billion on furlough. And remember, Labour thinks that the furlough spending wasn't as generous as it should be. So let's go back and look at what these frauds in Labour really want. What they say is that the policy would require, which would require the use of photo ID, is a total waste of taxpayers' money. That's how much they favour the sanctity of the ballot box. Okay, let's get rid of this here, shall we? And we'll have a look at what they're arguing. The government has committed to a policy which ministers will say will make elections more secure by cracking down on in-person voter fraud. Get that? Cracking down on fraud. And that triggers the left because they know that in certain areas they rely on the fraudulent vote. Now it's not all they rely on, because they also rely on the postal vote, which also needs to be tackled. But let's talk about just the actual in-person voting. So it goes on to whine about the fact that, I mean, this is hilarious here stuff, that there are concerns that even with government plans to issue free ID to people, it will prove a hurdle for more vulnerable voters. Hang on a second. So the government's going to give you a free ID, but that's still burdensome. That's still a problem. Some civil rights groups have warned the plan amounts to voter suppression. No, it amounts to illegal voter suppression, actually. And then the Labour calculation is based on government estimates, blah, 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 blah. So what they're trying to do is essentially tell us that, oh, this is awful. This is making people prove who they are is going to cost 40 million over 10 years. That's 4 million a year. And the government's currently spending 61 billion a year. Can you see what this is about, folks? This is about the left needs fraud. It needs to cheat. It needs to steal votes. That's how the left operates. And if you want any evidence of that, simply Google Tower Hamlets election fraud, just for starters, and have a look at Peter. Do a little bit of homework on what happens in Peterborough as well. And that is by no means exceptional. We know, and it's not just in the UK, it's evidently true in the States as well, that this whole topic is deeply concerning. And so in the UK, this is a UK conversation. In the UK, the government wants to make sure that those who turn out to vote are who they say that they are. And if you can't prove who you are, then I'm afraid you're not going to be allowed to vote. And I agree with that. Now, there's lots of other arguments you could talk about. You could talk about, well, what's the value in voting these days? I mean, really, your choice is between Tweedledee and Tweedledum or Tweedledummer. So you can use that argument for sure. And you can certainly say the postal vote is another separate issue that needs tackled, which it most definitely is. But I think requiring people to prove that they are who they say that they are is eminently sensible, eminently fair. It doesn't discriminate in favor of one party or another. It discriminates against cheats. And surely that's something any civilized political party would welcome. The fact that the Labour Party has such a problem with it tells you all you need to know about the absolute state of Labour. Anyway, that's what I think. Do let me know what you think in the comment thread below, and speak soon.